And welcome back. The National Council for Mental Well-Being is honoring a senior peer coordinator from VIP Community Services with its prestigious Peer Specialist of the Year award at NatCon 25. Now, the prestigious award highlights and dedicates, highlights the dedication and the impact of individuals with lived experiences who help others through their recovery journey. Joining me now, Senior Peer Coordinator at VIP Community Services, Anthony Kohl, and we thank you so much for joining us, Anthony.
You're welcome, Daren. Thank you.
And thank you for the work that you're doing, my brother.
Thank you. Thank you.
You know, there's something about lived experience that makes a difference. And having lived experience really transcends into a person's life to the place that, it changes their trajectory. Sometimes it gives them foundation. I want to talk to us about, want you to talk to me a little bit about lived experience when it comes to mental health.
So my lived experience with mental health was once I had stopped using substances, I was admitted into the Allen Pavilion up on 231st Street in Broadway, which is right by Washington Heights, my old neighborhood. And when I went into the facility, I was not understanding a lot about mental health and what the expectations are and the treatment of clients that get stigmatized with mental health. And I got on medication, and I realized that that's not the way Anthony needed to live. So, with that being said, I did what was required of me for the first few months, trying to figure things out and try to see where I fit in with this mental health challenges that I have and learn how to live on it, in a harm reduction sense where I'm not doing harm to myself if I don't take the meds. And what I mean is doing harm to myself if I don't take the meds, am I going to use illicit drugs? So I had to change my view of it and change my understanding of it. And that's when I got presented with harm reduction and preventive services.
Yeah.
And as I go around the city today, I go in the Bronx, I go to 4 different locations every week, and I just see people struggling. And what I do is I give them information and resources that I know work and help them manage their mental health, but to make a better choice for themselves on a daily basis. I go to a MICA shelter, I sit in front of the building and I talk to guys because sometimes all they need is someone's ear. They don't need me to give them food. They don't need me to give them this or that. They're getting what they need, the basic needs, but sometimes they just need a little bit of empathy and courage to show that you're not alone and you're not the only one doing this.
Yeah. I probably press fast forward a little bit too quick because I do want to go back for a minute and have a little bit of an opportunity to make people aware of your journey because right now, you're the senior peer coordinator at VIP Community Services. And as you're the peer coordinator or senior peer coordinator, you're also going to be the one that's going to be honored. And so you will be the National Council for Mental Well-Being is going to honor you with the Peer Specialist of the Year award. And first of all, I want to get your take on just being able to receive that award.
Being able to receive that award has been, I called it a true blessing because 10 years ago when I first went into recovery and I got into this field, I didn't understand what harm reduction was and how people with mental illness are able to strive and thrive in our society. What I remember was my uncle who they kept in the closet and we would talk to him once in a while when I was a child. But it wasn't like a person doing well and trying to contribute and give back to people because I realized that things started changing for me when I started listening to my peers. So I was a plumber for many years, abused alcohol, abused other stuff. But once I got into this field, I've been able to maintain, stay clean, and just give what was freely given to me, and that is recovery.
Right.
Whether you're recovering from a mental health or a substance abuse, I got to have the team around me so I can connect because it's very important for me to connect. I played football. I always connected with people. I was in the army. I connected with people. And in life, when I was using, I wasn't connecting. Now I look forward to doing it because I feel like when people abandoned me and didn't want to talk to me, it made me feel bad. So I try not to do that to someone else. And I try not to stigmatize anyone.
Right.
And if I see stuff like that happening, I'm an advocate for them. I try to use the words that they don't know how to use or can't use, I've never used. Because sometimes we need to hear it so we can say it.
When you go back in your journey and you talk about that being alone, if you will, you didn't have that crew. or you were pretty much listening to that crew. What was that like for you? Because you're balancing substance abuse, you're balancing the mental health journey, but then at the same time, while you're trying to balance that, uh, you're not, and it leads you down a slippery slope.
So for me in high school, when I would have 70 guys in the locker room, I didn't hear everything everybody was saying. I just was saying, man, I need to get back home to help take care of my brother and my sister, or I need to get dinner for my family because my stepfather was out using, or I need to just check on my mother before she passed away because I was her caretaker. And there was a lot going on, but I always felt alone. Even though my coaches encouraged me, my teammates loved me and encouraged me, I felt like I was alone and didn't belong. So then once I got out of college and stuff like that, I joined the army and I was feeling the same way. And I was saying, what's going on here? Why am I feeling like this? But I never addressed it. Then married for a long time, similar. Feeling like I'm there married to a person, but I was always trying to escape. But like I said, when I got into recovery 10 years ago, that's when I was saying I need to be around people and I need to be accountable for my actions and I need to make change. And VIP has given me the opportunity to be able to make change with people and to stay consistent, give them the support they need because the barriers they have sometimes, or we have personally, can seem minimal to someone else, but they're big to us.
Yeah.
And when I offer them support, it seems to help a lot.
When did you say, when did you come across VIP? I should say, as an employee. At what point? At what point in the journey? How'd that happen?
So my first history with harm reduction was for the New York harm reduction educators as an intern. I did it for 4 years because I was collecting my pension for my other career. And then someone said to me, man, Anthony, you should work full time, take these trainings. And I started doing it. So he's my mentor. I used to call him coach, but he's my mentor. And that's Terrell Jones from New York Harm Reduction Educators. So I continued. In 2019, I was hired by BIP and I worked for the Bronx program, heroin overdose prevention education program. So if a person gets arrested in the Bronx with a 22003 minor substance abuse charge, they give me one of 7 peers. They give me or another peer a call. I report to the precinct. The main precinct is the 40th precinct in the Bronx because they get a lot of calls. And I sit down and just talk with the guy and say, let's try to get you services. Let's try to get help. Some say yes, some say no. Some guys have 6 years clean. And when they see me, they go, ever since I met you, Anthony, they helped me make a change. And I check in on them, I call them, and I just let them know. I like to use these words, not alone, never alone, because we're not alone. Sometimes we choose to be alone. But if we know better, we can do better.
You talked about going to see people at the precinct. Now, is this right after arrest? Is this before court? Is this during? I know.
So it's an intervention to court, so the person doesn't have to go back to court. So let's say he gets arrested with a misdemeanor minor drug charge, and they give him a desk appearance ticket, and he has no warrants. I meet him at the precinct. I
Cool.
talk to him, and he has 30 days to comply, and then I send the judge an email, and that's how we move forward with the team I work with the Bronx program. It's all in coordination with the DA's office.
Yeah. And,
I mean,
and
it's real important work, man.
oh, listen, I'm familiar.
Important.
I know it's important, and I think that intervention is so important because you also talk about the mental. You talk about the mental component. You talk about not just the mental component, substance abuse. Then we also haven't even gotten to the place of what a criminal record does. I mean, that also
Yes,
leads to
the
the breakdown.
stigma of having a criminal record
Exactly.
and the job where you sign at the line. We stopped that from you having to sign and tell them that you had a prior arrest on certain job applications because it's that important to help people succeed in New York. Because it was big to sign that, and then next thing you know, you don't get the job.
So
And it's a lot going on, man.
a lot, and for
A
yourself,
lot.
but for yourself now you're a bridge. I mean, once
Thank you.
you were on the other side of the bridge, but now you become the bridge. What's that
I'm going
like
to
for
tell you a
you?
funny story, Darren. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, go ahead,
So
bro.
my first arrest was at the 46th precinct where I went to meet somebody, and when I was walking out, I said, "Wow, I get to leave without being in the van or in handcuffs. That's some stuff, brother.
Yeah, yeah.
Today I can do that."
And listen, when you think about that, and you think about the fact of where you've come from, what's the message that you have? Then what's the message that you share to, other peer specialists and the others who, are trying to do this work?
My main thing I talk to the people about that I was taught to by a clinician at VIP, self-care. If you're not good doing the right thing for yourself or being good to yourself, you can't be good to anyone else. That's like me telling my son don't smoke pot and then I'm smoking weed in the garage. Come
Mm.
on, man. My kids are 34 and 31. When they were children, I was doing what I was doing, but I wasn't in their face doing it. Now, as an adult, I can stay clean, help people, and be in their face, and they want to be a part of what I'm doing, and they ask me questions. When I was a plumber, nobody asked questions.
Now they're asking your advice.
Yes, sir. And I tell them it's a suggestion. It worked for me. It may not work for you, but let's try to find what will work for you. What are your strengths? What are your goals? Let's make short-term goals that are attainable. You can't say, "Oh, I'm going to be president next month." That's not attainable for Anthony. I know that. I tell them, try to pick something that you think you can do, and something could be instead of drinking 30 beers a day, I'm drinking 10. Just an example, or
Right.
instead of hanging out all night, I'm going home at 9 o'clock every night. And now the arrests start going down, and the continuation in court and keep on, abandoning your family, because that's what happens when we get arrested. We abandon our family and we let the women of our society fend for our kids, or the community fends for the kids.
Right.
It's a tough situation, Darren.
Agreed. And but what I'm really grateful to have you on the show for is that you've taken advantage of this tough situation and turned your pain, as I've said before, you take the pain, you turn it into purpose, and now you're not just helping others, you're helping a lot of other people,
A
and
lot of people. Yeah.
you're the fact that you'll be honored uh, with this award recognizes the fact that you put the work in and recognize the fact that you've actually taken the time to say, listen, you know what, my life is worth something, and then I want to see somebody else make something of their life. That second chance, I just want you to speak to that,
Yes.
because that second chance, what's that mean for you, being able to be that second chance for somebody else who once needed a second chance themselves?
So what that means to me is like a positive light that I see. Sometimes when I go into the precinct or just walking around VIP in the hallways, they say, "Hey, Anthony, how you doing?" I go, "What's going on, man?" "Oh, things are rough." I say, "Yo, welcome back." It's not where you start the race, man. It's where you finish. And it took me 30 years of restart, restart, restart. Yeah, I'm good, honey. I'm gonna be good, but I wasn't. And this see the award in the back behind my shoulder. That's the award they're presenting me with. I just wanted to show you. It's something beyond my dreams that I could ever think I would ever get. I could never think Anthony deserves that. But now I can accept it, deserve it. I spoke in front of 6,000 people, changed my life. Changed my life. And that second chance, mm, I could taste it.
Yeah.
But it's a daily process, self inventory, talking to people, and staying connected. I need to stay connected because I go to the 149th Street and Eagle Avenue, sit in the park. I don't know anybody because it's all a different era of hanging out in the streets. But you know what? I call to them. I look on them and I go, "What do you need, man?" "Turkey sandwich, bag of chips, clothes, a referral to a detox." I have them come pick them up, and it's just rewarding to me
Yeah.
because I never thought I'd be doing this. And
I,
for there I am today, Darren.
Well, listen, I'm ultra not just impressed. I'm ultra humbled to see how the transformation has occurred. I don't want to leave this segment, and this is the last question I'll ask before we get out of here. Talk to me
Okay.
about VIP services, the fact of them just taking a chance on you.
You're funny you say that because I applied for 5 different companies as a recovery coach to try to get a job. And everyone kept saying, "Oh, you got to do this, you got to do that." And I was getting like the runaround because I said, "I need to go full time. I have a talent, I have a skill, I want to use it." And the lady I got interviewed by a VIP, she goes, "You'll be perfect to go to the police station and meet with the police." I said, "The police? Whoa, whoa, I don't know if I want to do that." And she started laughing. She goes, "Why? This isn't an interview." We sat there for 2 hours in this interview, and I've been here for 6 years now. She
Wow.
gave me the chance to be able to give back that was given to me and to say, it's full circle, Anthony. Like I tell you, the first time I went to the precinct, I walked out free without getting sent to central booking was a big deal for Anthony Kohl. Big.
Well, that's huge. VIP Community Services. And again, if you're just joining us here with Anthony Kohl, he is also the National Conference 25 Peer Specialist of the Year Award. And he's the Senior Peer Coordinator for VIP Community Services, making a difference. And listen, that's an awesome award, my brother. And that's all. It looks a little heavy too, man. It looks a little heavy.
It is, man. This thing is heavier than my cat.
Well, listen, you're well deserved. I want to congratulate
Darren.
you and thank you for the work that you're doing. Keep it up, my brother. You're making a difference.
Pleasure meeting you.
Hey, pleasure meeting you too, bro.
VIP, CCBAC in the Bronx.
Yes, sir.
770 East 176. Come to us, insurance or not, we take care of you.
We got to find a way. We're gonna get you back and put you right here in the studio next to me so we can talk.
Let's do it, buddy.
All right, then.
You're the man. I got to meet you in person, Darren.
No problem, Anthony. You got it, brother. All right.
Take care, sir.
Take care, brother.
Thank you for your time.
All righty.